Deep within Scarlet Devil Mansion lies a secret. Secret hidden in plain sight, but still unnoticed. Remilia Scarlet, eternally young Scarlet Moon, the Scarlet Devil, ironically has sealed her own fate. Her time is running out if she doesn't act fast, and the blow that is going to stop Remilia's clock comes closer than you might think. Hidden from view below the dark lies a time bomb, and that bomb needs to be defused fast. I'm sure most of you probably already know what I'm talking about here, and for those who don't, I'm talking about the true relationship between Remilia and her younger sister Flandre. Really old and well-known topic. Or so you might think. Well, you see, when I started to think about it, the common explanation that they are in relatively good terms just doesn't fit. I'm sure that most of you are now yelling, but Touhou Wiki says that they are. And you're right, it clearly says that, but why would Sun just slam the truth straight to our faces? I don't think he would. So hold on to your hats, because after months of research, this is what I was able to gather. So, to understand why this topic grabbed my attention, we have to go straight back to the events of EOSD and look closely what happened there. Remilia starts the Red Mist incident. Reimu or Marisa charged right to Scarlet Devil Mansion to resolve the incident. Within the mansion, Mailing, Kokuma, Patchouli, Sakuya and Fairy Maids are commanded to protect Remilia and Red Mist, but they end up failing. And after that, under the Red Moon, there is a battle between Heroine and Remilia for the future of Gensokyo. Now, I know that you might not find anything suspicious here, but let me explain. It's commonly known that Remilia is really selfish and tends to put herself above everyone else, and that's exactly what's happening here. Remilia commands everyone within her power to protect her, and from those actions we can tell that she is aware that Reimu or Marisa will come to stop her. Mailing herself even states that shrine maidens are allowed to be eaten, and that strongly says that they know that Reimu or Marisa will come to interrupt their plans. And there's the first thing that caught my attention, because if Remilia would throw all her allies within her power to command against Heroine, where is Flandre? Now I can hear someone saying that it's said that Remilia had forgotten Flandre's existence, and you may be right, but we can clearly see from the dialogue from the extra stage between Marisa and Patchouli that Patchouli was aware of Flandre's existence, and because Patchouli was helping Remilia with the incident and she's Remilia's friend, she would have pointed Flandre out if indeed Remilia had forgotten her. And here things started to get suspicious. If Remilia would command all her subordinates to fight for her, why not just command Flandre to do her dirty work? That would have seemed to be easiest way to defeat the heroine. She is the mistress of the Scarlet Devil Mansion after all. She should be able to command all its residents. If Remilia would risk the success of taking over the Gensokyo by fighting the heroine herself and leaving Flandre completely out from the events, there must be a really good reason for that. And that reason might be more obvious than you might think. Let's compare the settings of EOSD's final boss and the extra boss. And now it's really important to remember that Flandre and Remilia are both vampires. And now remember how vampire can reach its greatest strength. That's right, being exposed to the Red Moon. Remilia's fight was under the Red Moon, and Remilia herself stated that she had just eaten, so she were at her greatest strength during the battle. And that's the big difference between fight between you and Flandre and you and Remilia, because Flandre's fight were twice as hard than Remilia's, and Remilia was at her true limits. Now imagine, if Flandre is that powerful even without Red Moon or even Moon itself, imagine her power under the Red Moon. Scared? Well, you should be, because with the power of the Red Moon, Flandre's power would be unmatched. There wouldn't be anyone who could possibly defeat her during that, and now we're starting to see where Remilia put her own victory on the line. But it still doesn't make sense. Flandre is said to respect her older sister so greatly that she hasn't shown any desire to go outside the mansion, and Flandre's obedience towards Remilia have been demonstrated many times, so even under the Red Moon Remilia should have authority over Flandre. Unless the whole respective side of Flandre is complete theatre. And now this is the best part. People tend to forget that Touhou literature is canon too, so I'm not sure how many of you have noticed this, but in Bohemia Archive in Japanese Red, there are a few extra lines that Flandre gets to say outside from official games, and those few lines are crucial for this theory to be taken seriously. Quote, "Really, who cares about one little meteorite? Can't you understand that something like meteorites are meaningless to me?" And so, what Miss Remilia said was the truth. About planning of the meteorite? There's no way. That's just how that girl talks. Really? Yeah, that girl acts like she knew everything right from the start. Pretty strong language from the little sister whom is supposed to be respecting her older sister. And top of that, after she realizes that Remilia was standing right behind her, her tone changes dramatically. "You would do well not to call your elder sister that girl. Oh, how long have you been standing behind me, elder sister?" This really shows that Flandre is much more rebellious and intelligent than we thought, and also remember that this is only time that Remilia is shown to rely on Flandre's power, although there has been many times where usage of Flandre's destructive power would have benefited Remilia, like in the events of EOSD or Imperishable Night. Instead of using Flandre's power, Remilia put herself on the line that she wouldn't need to use Flandre's help. Remilia is truly afraid of Flandre and that she might turn on her. But why was she locked up in the first place? What led to this tension between these two sisters? Well, answer for this is I can't say for sure, but I have some kind of conception about what could have led to our current situation. The next things I'm about to say are just speculations and my own thoughts about what could have happened. I'm using myself as an example to describe this. I bet that you all who have siblings know these feelings. If you are older one, there is always some kind of need to push down your younger siblings to feel your superiority. And if you are a younger sibling, there is always some kind of fear of your older sibling. And how does this relate to me? Because I'm the middle child, so I am at the same time the younger one and the older one, and I feel these both urges. Even towards my older sibling, whom I know I could easily beat him up, but something inside tells me to not to. And I think that's exactly what's happening between Remilia and Flandre. But what did Remilia do to Flandre that even if she knows that she could destroy Remilia just by squeezing her hand, that she is too afraid of Remilia that she doesn't do it? Well, explanation for that could be hidden in Remilia's personality, past, and Flandre's wings. How many of you remember the part of Remilia's lore where it's told that upon arriving to Kensokyo in around 1998, Remilia killed all other vampires within Kensokyo? Not many, I'm sure, because this isn't widely known, but if this is the case, it would suggest that Remilia was the vampire behind the vampire incident. For those who don't know about vampire incident, here's direct quote from the Touhou wiki. Upon arriving in Gensokyo, Remilia quickly gathered many subordinates and proceeded to go on a rampage. However, she was eventually defeated by powerful yokai. They settled on Devil's contract, where the yokai would give her humans for food, and in exchange she would not attack the humans of the Gensokyo. Such prohibition proved distasteful to many yokai, which led to talks with Reimu Hakurei to establish a set of ground rules for battle. It is unclear if Remilia was involved in these discussions. This culminated in the creation of the spellcard rules. In 2003, another plot of Remilia would lead to the first incident that used the system. If this is truly the case, it would mean that Kurumi, only vampire to be introduced in Touhou besides Flandre and Rimila, is currently dead. One mystery solved, but back to Remilia. Previous quote plus Remilia's selfish personality highly suggests that she has at least some kind of desire to become a most powerful vampire, and that could easily explain Flandre's wings. As we all know it, Flandre's wings are made by Flandre herself and are not natural. This could very easily be something that Remilia has done to Flandre a long time ago, because to think of it, if you have desire to become the most powerful vampire, but you would have to kill your own sister, could you kill her? Well, neither could I. What I think happened is that instead of killing Flandre like any other vampire, Remilia ripped Flandre's wings off and shot her away so that she would be seen as more dominant and powerful. And that could explain Flandre's great fear towards her older sister. But now, many of you may ask, wasn't Flandre locked away because of her emotional instability? Don't worry, I'll get to that. You see, I think that her insanity is not due to her isolation, but rather her wing style. Take a closer look and remember that Flandre made these by herself. It's stated that the rods of Flandre's wings are metal. It makes sense if you are about to make your new wings that you would make them out of metal. It's easy to obtain and easy to shape. But what are those crystals? Many people tend to believe that they are source of Flandre's power, but I think that those crystals are actually embodiments of Flandre's own emotions. Look at the colors. Light blue resembles sadness. Also notice that light blue appears twice in both wings. Then there's green that resembles jealousy, yellow that resembles happiness, orange resembles determination, color pink resembles love, then there's purple that resembles fear, dark blue resembles calmness, and finally there's another light blue. But something's not right here. One of the key emotions is missing. Color red resembling anger. Or is it? Look closely. It's Flandre herself. All other emotions are stored in those crystals except anger, which is shown through Flandre's desire to wear red. And why would she do this? To give herself enough courage to oppose Remilia, which she still doesn't have. And still remembering the light blue color that appears more often than other colors? If Remilia really did all that to Flandre, it would be just normal that the sadness would be the second most dominant emotion after anger, and that's why it appears more often than the others. And what was the exact state of Flandre's insanity? The emotional instability. Makes sense now, huh? What I think happened was after she made herself a new wings, those emotions that were stored in those crystals drove Flandre mad, and that's the reason of her emotional instability. But even after all this, Flandre is still too afraid of Remilia to face her, and that's where the events of EOSD's extra stage come in handy. You see, when you look closely at the dialogue between Flandre and Reimu, and Flandre and Marisa, it's clear that Flandre's intentions are not hostile, at least she doesn't mean to be hostile. She acts very curious towards heroine because she states that she hasn't seen any human before, which is really clearly a lie, because it would be impossible for Flandre to not be aware of Sakuya's existence, unless Sakuya is not a human. But that's a topic for another video. Back to the extra stage. The way I see it is that Flandre is testing our heroine here. Maybe Flandre thinks that Marisa or Reimu could help her to get revenge on Remilia. But what happens is that in the end Reimu and Flandre don't seem to be getting along pretty well. Unlike Marisa and Flandre, which could be explained by the fact that Reimu is a shrine maiden, and because Remilia is known to be visiting Hagure's shrine often, Flandre might think that Reimu and Remilia are friends, which in this case makes it impossible for Flandre to get along with Reimu. Flandre even goes as far as directly threaten Reimu after the battle. Quote, "Don't go thinking you won with that. There's still more to come." This is complete opposite in dialogue with Marisa, in which Flandre states that she has heard that Marisa and Remilia aren't in quite good terms by stating that she has heard that Marisa and Remilia have quarreled often. Flandre seems to be liking Marisa as a friend, maybe because she was willing to play with her. She didn't shun Flandre like Reimu, and Flandre may think that Remilia and Marisa are enemies. After the events of EOSD, Flandre and Marisa are often stated to be good terms, so if or when Flandre manages to get enough courage to oppose Remilia, it can be expected that Flandre will ask help from Marisa. But if all this turns out to be true, and Marisa gets involved, maybe she doesn't necessarily need to be fighting for anybody. Because, as we know it, Remilia and Marisa are not enemies as Flandre thinks, but Flandre and Marisa are still friends, so maybe Marisa can help Flandre to forgive Remilia and act as peace negotiator between those two sisters. That would be the best outcome, because if there's no one to get those two sisters back together, the fight between them could lead to destruction of Gensokyo, but for now we just have to wait and see. So, this is my theory about what's really going on between Flandre and Remilia. It took me months to get all this information together, and I hope you found it to your liking. Just keep in mind that this isn't canon and this is all just speculation, but who knows, maybe this could actually be the case. I also know that there are people who disagree with me, so please let me know in the comments what do you think about this topic. Do you agree or disagree? Also, please tell me, do you want more of these, and if you do, you can leave some theory ideas for me, but for now I must thank you for your time. My name is Touhou and we'll see you in the next video. Literature. Mitä vittu? Literature. People tend to forget that Touhou literature for this theory